So we'll talk about Christmas, Mum. When you were a bairn, for Nairn as a bairn.
Yeah.
For the website. You were one of 9 children.
9 children, yeah.
Yeah, you were the third one, were you, or the fourth?
Sorry?
Which were you? The third or the
Well,
fourth
it
along?
was Mary
Yeah.
and Helen,
Uh-huh.
Timus and myself. And Timus and I were inseparable.
Uh-huh.
Mother used to say if one of us was lost. And one night I wasn't in my bed, and
Aye.
she used to tell the tale about I was lying on a pillow with my hand through the cot, holding Timus's hand when he was a baby.
Is that right?
And Margaret's, funnily enough, I said to Margaret, well, we were always close. She says, I knew that. She says, and I'm glad I didn't come between you. I said, you wouldn't have done.
That's Timus's
She
wife,
said,
yeah.
you know,
Auntie
but
Margaret.
we were there. And even when we were grown up, we walked together, we fished, and he was. I remember if he took me shooting, if he shot anything, I had to carry it. You know?
So you were his gamekeeper.
I was, aye.
So at Christmas time then, can you remember your first Christmas?
Yeah, well, I can remember when Davy, my oldest brother,
Yeah.
got engaged to Janet. He was a postman.
Yeah.
Janet worked the post office in Nairn, and that was the first Christmas really that we got anything other than clothes at Christmas.
Oh, I see.
We always got an apple and an orange.
Yeah.
And Davy used to tell the tale that Jock said, oh, I've got 3, and the third one was a tatty that put into a stocking.
So you were the young ones then, really.
That's right.
Your parents had brought up 4 or 5
Helen,
older ones.
From Helen and Timus and Mary
Yeah.
and myself. We were
Yeah.
the young ones. And Janet, I can remember sitting up and reading a book all night with a candle that Janet had given me for Christmas.
Right.
I couldn't tell you what it was about.
Right.
now.
Okay. So that. So were you waiting for Santa, or that was after Christmas?
That was after Christmas.
Yeah.
I woke up in the small hours
Yeah.
and everything was there already, but we hadn't heard anything.
So it must have been chaos at Christmas in the morning, was it, with all you kids?
Well, we didn't get loads of things like you got.
No,
We got mostly clothes, and when Janet came in, I remember books
Yeah.
and probably sweeties.
Yeah.
But we always got an apple and an orange, and Jock got an extra tatty.
How about Christmas dinner? Was there? Did you?
Raw.
Did you? Did you all sit down to dinner at Christmas?
Oh yes.
Uh-huh.
Always sat out. And we were lucky because my father sewed for people, and God, it was always cockerels they gave you at
All right.
Christmas.
So he was a tailor, so you would get some bartering
They
going
were
on.
usually, and my father had a line of snares.
Oh, right.
We
Okay.
always had rabbits. So,
Yeah. So you'd have your dinner, and how
we
about
had our dinner. We always had, funnily enough, we had always had a boiled cockerel and broth.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
because you didn't roast hens and things in those days. We had a big pan of soup made with the cockerel and a rabbit pie
Right.
for our main course.
Yeah.
And we had an oven, but it wasn't sufficient. So people went to the bakehouse, and the bakehouse cooked our rabbit pie.
Oh,
for
really?
us. Yeah, it was cooked in the bakehouse
Yeah.
ovens.
Yeah.
And then we went over for it, and there was always a plum duff
Right.
for pudding.
Yeah. Yeah. Brilliant. And on Boxing Day, what would happen? Just the kids played.
Lots of
And,
days, I think what I remember is most of the kids playing with their toys or whatever.
Whatever you had, yeah.
And we always, my mother, I don't know, she didn't have much money, but we always had fruit, something, apple and orange or something again on Boxing Day, after dinner in the afternoon, and a sweetie.
Yeah.
Sunday we always got one sweetie after our dinner, and it was the same on Boxing Day. Maybe a McCowan's. Do you remember them? The toffees. Oh well, that was it.
Very good.
So that was Boxing Day, and after that it was school.
Yeah.
It was hell. And porridge. I hated porridge. I still don't like porridge, but I make it.
Yeah.
On occasions. Your father liked porridge, so I made it for him.
So was it, when you went back to school, was there school dinners, or did you come home for dinner?
Never school dinners. Always came home. The only thing, for a period, the Horlicks people donated Horlicks, big containers, and the janitor and his wife made Horlicks for us in the middle of the day. But that didn't last. It was just a one-off probably. But that's what I remember. Rind and Mrs. Rind used to make the Horlicks in the middle of in the middle of the morning. It was like 11s.
Yeah.
But that was just a one-off occasion.
Yeah.
And then we went home at dinner time. Ran down the street and ran home.
How long did you get off for Christmas?
At
school?
It would have been the same 10 days.
10. I see. You had the same thing. Yeah. Oh well, that's Christmas in the Mackay household. And what year would that have been? About
well, I was
just before the war, anyway.
I was born 1924, so
right.
It would have been in the early 30s.
Early 30s. Yeah. Did you have a radio at that time?
We had the only radio in the district.
You did? How did that happen?
Uncle Willie was an engineer, and Mother bought all the ingredients for her, and he made it. It was a cabinet.
So an old crystal set, he made it himself, did he?
He was an engineer and he made it for her, and that was the first one. We had a loudspeaker.
Right.
And I can remember, you won't remember, Toppy, the taxi driver, there were the Greens was their name, and the old folk lived in Believe-It Terrace in our lane, but their son Toppy lived in Faulkner's Lane, and his house was adjoining ours, the lane. And a good night he used to come down and listen to Radio Athlone.
Radio Athlone?
Athlone.
Athlone.
That was the Irish radio. Because the music was fantastic.
Yeah.
And old Toppy used to come down. He never came into the house, but he stayed outside.
Is that right?
Outside his door of his house and listened to the Radio Athlone on the wireless my Uncle Willie made. Amen.
So you would just all sit down to listen to the wireless at that time.
There was great music in those days in the radio. It was all and of course my mother was daft to music. She knew every song there was.
All right.
And used to join.
So you would have been getting the big bands coming from London,
well, Uncle Willie's son Eddie had a collection of all the big bands. From Harry Hill, Harry. All of them anyway, the well-known ones.
Billy Cotton and all that.
Harry
Hall.
Up to Sylvester.
Victor Sylvester, I remember Billy that. Cotton. Billy Cotton as well.
Eddie Mackenzie had all the records, masses of them. He bought all.
And did you have a gramophone in the house as well?
Yeah, of course. Bloody
everybody
horn. Did. And when we got the wireless and we got a small radio, my father gave this gramophone with a horn to an old boy that lived up the country, Wales, I think his name was. But he was a trapper, that was his work, he was a gamekeeper. and he kept us in game. And
so there's a bit about bargaining going
so
on as well.
That's the and the
So
wireless used to sit on top of the radio that Uncle Willie.
So was there a shop in Nairn that sold gramophones and gramophone records?
Yes. What was his name? Lived here for a while. He was in Indian Road, but then Galls. I think it was
Galls. Yeah.
G-A-U-L-S.
Yeah, I remember that.
He had a son.
Yeah.
The son. The son's not long dead. I think his widow's dead as well. But they got, and Knowles and Cummings. They were down where Jimmy Asher's place is.
Really?
On the bridge there.
Yeah.
That was, and he sold guns, ammunition, everything for the shooter. Plus records.
Little sidelining records and gramophones.
I don't know if there was anywhere else until Mike came along, but I don't think there was anywhere else.
Yeah. Oh well, that's a bit of insight into life when you were a bairn in the 30s. Mum.
Yeah, well, we were, funnily enough, we were all went to Sunday school, of course.
Yeah.
And I went to Sunday school, went to the parish Sunday school in the morning.
Yeah.
In the afternoon, we went to Miss McIntosh, the wee threes.
Oh, really?
She gave us a toffee. That's the only reason we went. We got a sweetie from her. It was one of these McCowans, not a wee caramel, a bigger caramel. I don't know that. They've gone out of business now. There was Highland cream. There was a Highland cow's photograph.
I remember them now. I know what you're talking
that was
about.
The one.
Yeah.
And that was Sunday. What happened on Sunday? We were all right on Sunday, but we used to exchange holidays with the Mackenzies. Auntie Nellie's family from Elgin, and Uncle Willie.
All right, so that was your holiday. You would go through Elgin.
Yeah, well, there was the Cooper Park.
Yeah.
And Uncle Willie was we three, and we weren't allowed out on Sunday.
Oh, of course.
They weren't allowed
not even
out
for
on
your
Sunday.
Not even for your toffee. You just had to go to
where for the Sunday school.
Sunday school, and that was it. Yeah.
I don't think we did anything on Sunday night. Oh yes, later on. Well, from then on, Mr. Little was the minister of the High Church.
Yeah.
And Miss Cameron was a teacher, but she played the piano for us.
Right.
And there was children's hour on a Friday night.
At the church hall.
You put your name in one week and perform the next.
Right.
I can remember Uncle Alec up there, arms like this, singing, Jesus wants me for a sunbeam.
So did you have your own party piece?
I think, well, we all
Everybody had to,
I can't remember, but we all performed. Anna Mackenzie was a pian. Mackenzies were they all played the fiddle or the piano, and Elizabeth, the youngest one, what a voice she had, and she got a Royal College of Music in London.
So she went off to the Royal
and
College.
she performed with Vera Lynn.
Oh, really?
When she came out of the college and started working.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So your mother was a good singer as well, wasn't she? And played the piano, didn't she?
My mother's big regret was she was brought up in a school in the country. Yeah. Where it was one class, it was the headmaster's, Hosey, and his name was. Yeah. And he ordained that my mother should be the contralto.
Oh, really?
And she never sang anything. Auntie Kate, she had a voice out of this world. Yeah. And the Richardsons were all singers. Yeah. But Auntie Kate had a wonderful soprano voice. And I can still hear my mother and her. They didn't see each other very often, but they sang
got together.
They
sang, So so were you paraded out for friends as kids to sing together as when any visitors came to the house? Would you be asked to sing?
We were sent out the house.
Oh, you were sent out.
Yes. Unless it was relations, of course. But any strangers. And my father, of course, had his workshop, his tailoring workshop upstairs.
All right.
And I can see him
so he would have
sitting cross-legged in his table upstairs sewing.
So he would have had clients coming in and about, so the kids had to get scoot.
And we had to be quiet in the house, and the only way he got us quiet, he used to come and clear his throat, and that was enough to stop. And I can remember somebody told him about it, and I remember he took Jimmy Stewart, the Bobby, and his friend Scott, who was the manager of McRae and Dixon Nairn in these days, and he took them over to prove that my father could quell a riot with clearing his throat. Tell you, we were brought up in fear.
It was
respect and fear. Fear mostly.
Yeah, Victorian upbringing, that's great.
And when we left school now, left school at 14.
Yeah.
But I had a job before I left school. I delivered rolls. Buttery morning rolls.
All right.
First thing before I went to school.
Yeah.
And then on Saturday, it was full day working. And I think it was only 2 shillings or something a week, 2 bob, less than half a crown.
Yeah.
And I can remember.
So did that go into the family household, or was that yours?
Your
mother had that.
Whatever we were earned, but we got pocket money out of it, But I can remember if we had to deliver bread or rolls, there was Altenburn School was a college.
Yeah. That's right.
Boys' school in those days, until one of the boys was drowned in the pond at the golf clubhouse, the quarry.
Yeah.
Well, and that was the end of this. The Pearsons who owned it went away. Funnily enough, I met them later in Edinburgh. But that was the end of the Altenburn.
So that was school. You were away out there with the rolls every morning.
Oh, and God, I used to come home terrified at night in the dark, and the bloody owls would be hooting, and I would be going like the clappers to deliver these rolls, and thinking, why couldn't they have done it during the day? But that's the only night delivery I remember.
Yeah, very good. Right, thanks, Mum.
I told you with Children's Hour with Mr. Little.
No, yes, that was in the church halls.
That's right, and he with Miss Cameron, Mick, we called him.
How about a youth club? Was there such a thing, or was that the school thing?
Later, when I was in my late teens, before I went into the army, it was started up in the Talkage Hall, which is on the Bray. When you go up from here, it's in the right. The first opening in the Bray, up in the right, there was a hall at the Talkage Hall.
And scouts and guides, were there scouts and guides?
I was a girl guide. I was never a brownie, but I was a girl guide. And now Timus was Timus was in the English church choir, and I can remember Mr. Ramsey was a minister, and he always came to see us at Christmas, had a sweetie, and he said to Jimmy, now, he asked me if I got a prize at school, and I did, and then he asked Timus, and we'll never let Timus forget this, he said, yes sir, he'd a listen. And he said, yes sir, I got a tale of two cities, sir, but I changed it for Oliver Twist. I would never let him forget. He never let him forget Oliver Twist.
Oh, dear, the things you remember, eh?
But Demas was clever.
Yeah.
Demas could have gone to university, but he had no interest.
Yeah.
He just wanted to stay in there,
Yeah.
fish in the summer
Yeah.
and shoot in the winter.
Yeah, Timus ended up being the lineman, didn't he, for the telephone people, looking after all the lines
He
up
was a
here.
telephone engineer at Achnasheen and
Yeah.
then Stornoway.
Ah, very good.
And then he came back to Inverness.
Yeah.
They had a boarding house in Inverness, and the kids, their family ran it. They did all the cooking and
Yeah.
everything. And there were twins and two.
Yeah.
And they all went to university. Demas's kids were clever.
Yeah.
Demas was clever, but Margaret must have been more clever, you know.
Yeah.
But,
Well,
Margaret's letters there, she always
Yeah.
finished them much laugh.
and they're all
And
doing really well
prayer,
as well, yeah.
and
Yeah.
prayer. She always put
Yeah.
in a good word for her.
Well, yeah, we need it.
Oh well,
There you are.
that's the end of another episode. But I remember Timus, Tale of Two Sisters. Poor Timus, he was never allowed to forget it.